Well, hello folks, good afternoon. Today I'm going to teach you a little bit about charcoal. This is a natural remedy, and a lot of what I am telling you about comes from this book. It is Charcoal by Agatha Thrash, which was a doctor, and Calvin Thrash, which was her husband, who was also a doctor. These two folks ran a center down in Alabama called Uchee Pines, and it's a wellness center, and it's well known, and it is an excellent place to go if you're in poor health or have problems. So, in her book, and you can buy this book still today if anybody wants to take a better look at it. This copy is copyrighted 1988. And they sell this, or that's what I was told, at Uchee Pines. It's also, you can get it online as well. Okay, so the things I want to tell you about this is, and then I will tell you a story. Charcoal's been used as a folk remedy as far back as recorded history. North American Indians used charcoal for the treatment of gas pains long before our forefathers came to this continent. And on that note, I would tell you a real quick little story. Many years ago, and it's been probably close to 30 years ago, I would say, between 30 and 25, something like that. I think it's been more like 30. I had a friend who, she, on Sabbath evening, on Friday evenings, she would make in her slow cooker, she would make 15-bean soup. And then she always had guests to her house to eat after church. Well, this was at a different church than where I'm at now. And she called me and she says, I'm having a heart attack. And she's older than I am, not by a lot, but she was a little bit older. And she's just, I'm having a heart attack. I can't breathe. I'm hurting so bad I can't stand it. I'm going to have my husband call an ambulance. I said, what did you make for Sabbath? I made 15-bean soup. I said, did you eat any of that soup after it got done? Yes, I had a bowl of it. I said, okay, I'll be there in 15 minutes. We lived about 15 minutes apart. So I took, now at the time I didn't have charcoal powder. I had charcoal capsules. Charcoal powder is a good thing to have in your home. They use this in the hospital for poison control. And but the capsules had activated charcoal in them. So I had taken a handful of them with me because I knew what was wrong with her. She had gas, severe gas from the beans. So I got there, I made her a slurry, which all it is a cup of, like a glass with water in it, and you put a couple of the charcoal capsules in it, you dump them out in it, and stir it around. And after, you've got it stirred around real good, then you just drink it down. It doesn't have a flavor, and you just drink the stuff down. And so she did that. I took it upstairs to her, and she did that, and lo and behold, less than 15 minutes, she was perfectly fine. Charcoal eats up gas in the tummy. And I've used it for many years for that. You can also, now I wouldn't give it on a consistent basis all the time, all the time to a baby. But if they've got gas really bad, and you'll know when they have gas because they'll pull their little legs up to their body, and they'll cry. And she says that you can give a baby slurry also. What you'll do is you'll pour the charcoal in a glass, stir it around, and then pour it slowly into a bottle, and let them take it after the bottle has sat and the water and the charcoal are starting to separate a little bit. Then give it to them, and it'll relieve the gas real quick. And I know it works because I've used it on my own babies. So what you do need to remember is that when you are given, when you're making like stuff on the grill and it gets really dark and dingy, your food, You know, and it's really, it's kind of towards the burnt stage, or toast that's burnt. That's not charcoal. And in fact, that's cancer. That'll give you cancer. So don't do that. And she tells you that in here, that it'll give you cancer. That grilled foods and barbecued foods and stuff like that, that's all they're good for. Now, a pharmacist, P.F. Toury, in 1833, wanted to make a demonstration of the effectiveness of charcoal before the French Academy of Medicine. And he survived after swallowing 15 grams of strychnine. Now this is 10 times the lethal dose. And an equal amount of charcoal he took down, which is about 3 tablespoons full. And he survived it. He was fine. It ate it all up. Charcoal, it is like a sponge. It grabs all the toxins. Now it can also grab the goods. So if you are on medication all the time, be very careful using charcoal, because it will eat your medication up in a heartbeat. When I take, like for instance, it also helps with indigestion. It eats up the acid that's there. And so, but if you have taken a medication, you have to wait several hours before you would use that, even if you're hurting from the indigestion. So when a poison is ingested while food is still in the stomach, to be on the safe side, these doctors recommended approximately 8 to 10 times the estimated weight of the poison as the dosage of charcoal. So if somebody had eaten rat poison, for instance, a child or something, then you want to give, and they just had food, or you gave them milk or something like that, you want to give them, remember what she says, 10 times the amount that they ingested of charcoal. So you need to keep this in your medicine cabinet so that you have it for nothing else, if nothing else, than poison control. Like I said, they use this in hospitals for poison control. You can make a charcoal poultice, and all you need to do for that is get you, one of these things that you put under patients or older people, sometimes younger people too, but you put it under them so that you can protect your beds. Well, you want to cut a piece off of it, and I'm not going to actually make one, but I'm going to show you how to make one. All you want to do is you want to separate the front portion from the rest of it like that, or you can leave it just like this. You want to take this and put a big spoonful of it in 2 big spoons of water in a, like for instance, if I wanted to take this jar, I want to take a great big spoonful and put it down in here. And then I want to take at least 2 big spoonfuls of water the same way, and then you want to stir it and make it into a paste, like a pasty type substance. Not dry paste, you want it a wet paste. And then you want to take your spoon, collect it out of it, and cut your strip, and then you want to put it on here. Then you want to take it, after you've got it on it, you want to wrap it around whatever it is you're putting it on, and then tape it on. And leave it on there, but make sure it's taped well around the edges, because whatever charcoal hits, it ruins. And so if it gets on one of your nice pillowcases or your bed sheets, it is going to stay forever black there. So you can also use, instead of using that, you can also use an old, for instance, in our household, we have a lot of old people, that we've used for a long time, and they start to smell a little bit like old people smell. Pillowcases, cotton pillowcases. Don't use anything if it's not cotton. And you want to put it on that, you can do the same thing. You can wrap it around and do the very same thing. If you've got something that, like for instance, when I started getting sick this time, the night that I started to get sick at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I had a sore throat. And there's two things I hate worse in this whole world, and that is a sore throat and an earache. I can't stand either one of them. I had many of them when I was a little kid, and I just hated them. And so my throat was hurting me, and so I got up and I went into the living room. So I went into the living room and I sat down in my chair, and beside of my chair I have a little table beside my chair with my bills and important papers and books and some supplements. I have a bottle of activated charcoal tablets. These are chewable tablets. I do not like capsules. I want people to get that. When I tell them about it, I stress heavily. Do not get the capsule. Get the pill, the tablets. They're called tablets. And you can get these from Amazon. They're not really expensive. So I keep these beside of me because I have a little bit of acid reflux that goes on. And so because of that, after, it's been hours and hours after I've taken my medicine, then I will take 3 pills. And it eats up the acid. I mean, it's like within 15 minutes you're relieved completely. And they're only this big. They're not real large. They don't go down too terribly bad. They're easy to get down. And so, see, like it gets on your fingers. But 3 of them I find work really well now. So, I'm going to tell you a quick story. When our son was smaller, he had an uncle of mine. He had gone to someone's house and he was doing some painting. And Robbie was about 7 years old at this point. And Robbie didn't like to go to the doctor. He still doesn't to this day. And he wanted me always to use natural remedies on him. He didn't want to go to the doctor because our doctor he didn't like. He didn't like the doctor that I had that was in Raleigh. Now he didn't mind my doctor that was in Rockville, North Carolina, but I had to go 2.5 hours to get to her. And so there were some times when he got sick that I needed to go to another doctor, things that I wasn't comfortable with using natural remedies on. And so this particular day, my uncle had done this painting at this house, and they had an old swing set in their backyard. And so he asked them what they were going to do with the swing set because they were, older people and they didn't have grandkids and stuff. And they told him he could have it if he wanted it. So he took it home and he painted it and fixed it up and gave it to me and Bob for our kids. And we really appreciated that because we didn't have a swing set. And so I bought a swing to go on it, a couple of swings at Home Depot. And this swing had like a harder plastic. It wasn't the ones that are real flexible. A harder plastic bottom on it. And underneath it, it had some holes. And so I didn't think anything about that. We lived out in the woods, and Robbie went out to swing. This was in the summer months. He went out to swing, and while he was swinging, he didn't realize what had happened to him. He got bit by a brown recluse. It was in one of the holes under the chair seat of the swing. And so after a while, he came in the house and he was crying, and he said, "Mommy," he said, I'm hurting. I'm hurting really bad on the back of my leg." And I said, "Well, what did you do?" Because he loved to climb trees, and his children loved to climb trees. And so he said, all I did was swing on the swing. And he came closer, and I felt his head, and he had a terrible fever at that point. Now this had been maybe an hour had gone by. So I told him to go lay down on his bed. I'd be there in a minute. So I got a bag of, this is another natural remedy. I got a bag of peas, green peas out of the freezer. Green peas, because they're small, little tiny things, and they're in plastic already, you can wrap them in one round in a hand towel, kitchen hand towel, and lay it under the back of your neck right here. Because this is where the, I wonder if it's hypothalamus, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I studied all this. Now, it's where in your head and all, where temperature gauges are taken care of. And so your fever, you'll know you can regulate your fever by putting a frozen bag of peas that's wrapped in a hand cloth, a dish towel, like this, a dish towel. And you can wrap it around one time and then put it underneath there. Well, he was just burning up. And it was hard to get him to take any kind of pills. So I couldn't give him anything that was like a ibuprofen or Tylenol or something like that. He wouldn't take them. And so I laid him down on his back, and I put the peas underneath that part of his neck. And I told him just to lay there for about 10 minutes. I would come back and take it away from him for just a little bit of time. Then we'd keep putting it back in. I had a couple bags of peas so I could rotate them. And these peas weren't never used for eating because I was constantly using them because my kids stayed sick a lot when they were real little. And they were always getting into something. And so they would get hurt or whatever. He laid there and his tent started to come down, but his legs started to swell on the back of it. So I told him, I said, okay, turn over on your tummy, and I'll lay, when we need to put the bag back down, I'll just lay it on there, and you can just lay, with your head, and everything will be fine. And it'll keep your fever down. Well, the back of his leg looked terrible. Now, look, this has been, an hour and a half or so afterwards, pushing towards 2 hours. And the back of his leg where he had been bitten was blood red. I mean, it was really bad. And so he was really having a lot of pain. And it was swelling and swelling and swelling. And believe it or not, it started to eat the flesh away in the center where it had bit him. And it had gotten to the point, eventually it got to the point that it was as big around as my little finger is. But at the beginning, it started out as big around as like pencil lead is. And I told him, I said, well, Robbie, I said, I'm going to put some charcoal poultices on you, and it's going to hurt because I'm going to have to touch it. And when you're inflamed, when you put anything on something like that, it hurts. And I said, but it's the only thing I know to do to help you because I'm not absolute. I think I know what's wrong, but I'm not absolute because I'm not a doctor. And so, but you won't go to the doctor. And he, he would just act up and he didn't want to do it. And so I thought, well, I've done enough natural remedies with guidance from doctors, because my doctor that was in Rockwell, she would use natural remedies. And I knew Agatha Thrash. I'd met her at camp meeting before, talked to her at great length, listened to many of her seminars, and knew exactly what to do for different things. And so she said that when you get black widows or brown recluses, even snake bites, that you should put major compresses on them to draw the poison out. And so this is what I did. I packed his whole leg there with a major amount of charcoal powder with water and made a compress. And the first day, he hurt a lot. He had a high temperature. Second day, no temp. However, he still had the problem going on with, the big red. It was about that big around. I mean, literally, it was about that big around. So, but the hole, the poison was eating the skin away in the hole, bigger and bigger, till the point when it finally finished, the day that it started to heal up, it was about as round as my pinky was. And so I kept putting on fresh compresses every so many hours and removing the old compress, put on fresh compress. So we did this around the clock, even through the night. And by the third day, he was completely fine. It had already started to seal up. No more pus would come out of it, because what I would have to do, and he bore it very well, like a gentleman. You know, he didn't scream and holler or anything. He just, gritted his teeth. Every day, what you would have to do was you had to push on it slightly till you got to the opening, and it was like Mount Vesuvius. The pus that would come out of it was just amazingly major. I mean, it was yellow. It was nasty. I'd have to clean it up. But by doing that and then directly putting a compress back on top of it again, it kept eating up the poison that that varmint had done to my son. And so if I could have gotten a hold of it, I would have killed it. But I had no idea where it was, and it wasn't in the swing anymore when we got there to look at it. So by the third day of doing this stuff, he was perfectly fine. No more temperature, no more anything. The hole had shut up, it was sealing up, just like nothing had ever happened, like he had just had a pinch or something, you know, of skin removed or something, and that was it. And it was fine, and he was fine. I mean, later I talked to a friend who was a nurse, and I told her what I had done and what had happened, and she said, wow, that is truly an amazing story. She said, because if you had brought him to the emergency room, he would have been in the hospital for at least 10 days. Now, I don't know. That's been, like I said, my son is 45 years old. That's been 38 years ago. So I don't know what would happen now. Our baby daughter, she had moved away from home. She was in Raleigh in town. She was living in a mobile home with several people there to live with to share expenses. And at work, she got bit by a black widow. And she was feeling pretty cruddy. And so she called me and asked me if I could help. And so I went over there and did the same things to her and told her what to do so that she could keep doing it, you know, when I wasn't there, because I couldn't stay there. Got better, and she felt better too. So there's many times that Robbie has had Robbie's a boy, and he was all boy, and he loved the woods. And he played in the woods, and he did all kinds of things. You know, it's a wonder he didn't get killed all those years, but Jesus was looking after him. I know that for a fact because my son is a pastor of 2 churches, and that boy loves Jesus. And he knows that Jesus loves him. And he just fills his heart up all the time, and his wife's, and his children's. So, and I would recommend to everybody watching this to buy this book. Get you a bottle at least this size, if not larger. Keep it. You can keep it for years, and it never goes bad. It will always do what it's meant to do. And keep in your purse or somewhere close by one of these, because you can take these pills and grind them up in a spoon, add water to it, and make a paste anywhere you're at if you have it in your purse or in your pocket or in your car. I have several of these, so I keep them in designated places. So y'all have a blessed evening. I hope this has been informative to you and will help you out in some way in your future. And have a blessed evening. And thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, press the like button. Subscribe. I will be talking about more natural remedies as the days go by. And remember, we love you. And it's not because we want you to hit the like button or we want you to subscribe. We love you because Jesus first loved us. And we want him in our hearts so that we can love like he loves. So we love you, but more importantly, Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful night's rest. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.